No matter if points are gained or points are lost, there will be much to discuss. For analysis regarding tonight's Winnipeg Jets game, here are Dave Manouk, Ezra Ginsburg, and your host, Drew Mandel. The Illegal Curve post-game show, presented by Play Now, the official sports betting partner of the Winnipeg Jets, starts now.
In a season full of impressive performances by the Winnipeg Jets, tonight's victory over the Dallas Stars, a commanding and complete 4-1 victory at that, may very well be the most impressive of all those victories. Good evening, Winnipeg. Good evening, Manitoba. For all those joining us live this evening on our YouTube channel and all of our social media platforms, we say good evening, universe, and welcome to the Illegal Curve post-game show. Along with Dave Manouk, I'm your host, Drew Mandel, here to discuss just a complete smothering performance by the Winnipeg Jets. The hype before the game was real. The question was, would the on-ice action match the hype? And certainly, from the Winnipeg Jets perspective, it did, as they just took control of this game against an opponent that saw an opportunity to climb closer to the Jets in the playoff race, and the Jets said, no dice, back in line with you, as they moved 10 points up on the Dallas Stars. Dave, great to see you again. How are you on this Friday night?
Well, I mean, I'm feeling that our prediction, we hyped everybody up on a special edition of the Illegal Curve brought to you by Illegal Curve this afternoon, at City Place.
Yeah.
And unfortunately, we did not deliver. Well, we did not deliver. The Dallas Stars did not deliver. Or you could say the Jets did deliver by dominating the Dallas Stars, because that was as dominant an effort. And I know that it is early since the trade deadline, but I will say, boy, does Luke Schenn fit into this lineup, as does Brandon Tanev, like a glove. It really is amazing how seamless those guys have made that transition. And obviously, again, for Tanev, less surprising given his previous history here in Winnipeg. Mm-hmm. But Luke Schenn is I said it on Twitter, and I know it's early, but it really is just what the doctor ordered for this team. He really just adds an element. And we inadvertently talked to Craig Button today when he popped onto the show with us.
Yeah.
But he talked about how important someone like that can be to this roster. And in my mind, I think we saw it throughout the course of this hockey game. And again, we talked about that first line, Drew, and how you needed more from them. And I think it was your words this afternoon where you said something about the importance of this line having a really good game against this Dallas Stars team. And I build it. We all build it. The world built it as the Clash of Titans, and it was nothing of the sort. It was a dominant performance by the Winnipeg Jets. And again, we'll add the caveat that, of course, Dallas was missing a lot of their key players, and the Jets, minus Neil Pionk, who, as we mentioned earlier today, is out week to week with a lower body injury. So the Jets were absent Pionk, and of course they were missing Heiskanen and Hintz and Sagan. So Dallas, of course, more banged up than Winnipeg. Mm-hmm. But again, I mean, look, in the battle of netminders, Connor Hellebuck, and I was getting ready. I'm just suggesting that there could have been a battle of netminders. I mean, Jake Ottinger now, and I know the crowd was giving it to him inside the arena, because they were definitely, well, you'll see Ez tomorrow, Mark. We appreciate the donation, but you'll see Ezzy tomorrow morning, bright and early, 9 o'clock, of course. Join us on the Illegal Curve hockey show, but this is the Illegal Curve post-game show. Ez isn't with us tonight. And look, we Drew, one of the kind of final thoughts we had on this afternoon show was this idea that, is Jake Ottinger going to be pissed off because of the way he was pulled in the last game here in Winnipeg? He was, of course, Connor Hellebuck's backup for the Four Nations tournament. So would he be using that as incentive? Well, 3 Jets goals on 9 shots doesn't exactly suggest that he was in the zone for tonight's game. And I'm not blaming him. I mean, I think the Jets played a really good game, but I'm just saying that in that kind of goaltending battle, Connor Hellebuck was phenomenal. And really that Mason Marchment goal was a beauty, but at the same time, like, it's either, well, but it's funny though, because if everybody listened to the Connor Hellebuck interview we did, of course, that was on YouTube yesterday, He said, I want that shutout. I want that win. Well, he didn't get the shutout, but he did get the all-important victory, his 39th victory, closing in on his own team record of 44, and of course, the all-time record of 48.
What I thought you saw tonight was a game that started relatively even. Both teams, that first period was fast. It was up and down.
Was there a whistle?
There weren't very many whistles. There were a couple, but there weren't very many. That first period, I thought, was just really well played hockey. Obviously, the Jets get on the scoreboard with those 2 first period goals, and we'll get into that in the Play Now game recap coming up. But the first period, pretty well played, good back and forth hockey. As this game went along, I saw a Dallas Stars team get more and more demoralized by the Winnipeg Jets. The Dallas Stars were a team that didn't have any time and they didn't have any space. The Jets were on them, as the cliche goes, like white on rice. I'm not sure if you're a whole grain guy or maybe you're a rice guy, whatever it might be, whatever euphemism you want to go
Shockingly, I do like rice, Drew.
There you go. You do like rice. Finally, we found something that you like. The Jets were on Dallas the entire game, and you just saw layer after layer. And I know I sound a little bit like our buddy Kevin Sawyer on the broadcast, but that's what it was. That's the Jets at their peak performance, where the opposition has to go through multiple players who are in position, has to go through multiple sticks that are in the right spot to break up plays, to deflect plays, to make sure that the transition game is not there for the opposition. And you saw that tonight from the Winnipeg Jets. I go back a week ago to right after the trade deadline. It was only 7 days ago that the NHL trade deadline was. It seems like it was about 3 months ago, but that's entirely. 7 days ago, the trade deadline, people are poo-pooing the Jets, your return of Luke Shen and Brandon Tanev.
I know.
Obviously, right now, those returns look valuable for the Winnipeg Jets. And the Jets go into New Jersey and they control that game and they beat up a New Jersey Devils team. Tonight, again, another one of those teams that are allegedly now better than the Winnipeg Jets because of what happened at the trade deadline. Dallas this, Dallas that. Dallas is ahead of the Winnipeg Jets. The power rankings have Dallas ahead of the Jets among all the analysts and the Illuminati and everything else. Well,
pundits,
Jets,
if you will.
Pundits, there you go. The Jets went there tonight, and I know that they always say they don't read the press clippings. Folks, they do. They know the scuttlebutt. They know what's being bandied about them, and the Jets went out there just like they did last Friday. But this one with more significance, of course, associated with it. They went out there and said, stop with the disrespect. They take this as a chip on their shoulder that they can use. And, if you're the Dallas Stars at some point in this game, I think you probably have to figure, what are the Jets playing with 7, 8, 9 guys on the ice at the same time? They had no time. They had no space. The Jets played their game to an absolute T. And that's why they ended up the 4-1 victors tonight over the Dallas Stars. Just a complete and total effort from the Winnipeg Jets. We will hear from Jets head coach Scott Arniel coming up tonight on the Illegal Curve post-game show. We can see backstage where the cameras are set up in the Matt Frost Media Center. As soon as the Jets head coach is at the podium, we will bring him to you live here on the Illegal Curve post-game show, presented by our friends at Play Now.
Well, and the only thing I would add, Drew, is that, listen, we know that this is a regular season game. It doesn't mean anything come the playoff time. The only thing that this was important for, I mean, obviously it's a good moral victory. Obviously it's something that you can, I mean, it was a dominant performance. There's no question about that. And it's another, feather in the cap of the coaching staff. They had this team prepared. They were ready to go from puck drop. The only thing that, to me, that this you could really focus on is the fact that you now have a 10-point lead. This essentially, again, it's not done deal. I'm not giving it a Ginsburg guarantee, but this really does give you as good a chance as you're going to have to lock up the top spot in the Central to have that home ice advantage. So I know that you were saying, I think if they won tonight, it was around 95%.
91% is, I think, the way it was. So if the Jets had won tonight in regulation, the clean 2 points, the odds of them, the percentage odds of them finishing top spot in the Central Division now is 91% chance. If they had lost in regulation tonight, it would have been down to about 75%. So still significantly in the driver's seat. But now that you have the double-digit point lead, Dallas with 2 games in hand, So the Stars still have 2 games, but they,
Yep.
when you lose one of those head-to-head battles against the Winnipeg Jets, it makes it that much harder for them to ever stage a comeback. I mean, they have to play at such an incredible rate to keep it going, and the Jets would really have to slow down, something we haven't seen from this team so far this year.
No, I mean, that's not going to happen. I mean, this team has been committed to playing the same way almost every single game. And even when they get out of their structure for a game or two, it's right back to normal fairly soon. So no, I wouldn't expect that again. Like I said, to me, this is just a really good performance by a really good hockey team. And I, further to the point that you were making about the pundits, and I tend not to try and like malign our colleagues in the media, but I will say, like, there's nothing that kind of gets me going than when I see like who won the trade. And I'm like, guys, we're not going to know who won a trade like for years. Why are we declaring who won a trade? I get that it gets clicks. I get that it gets watched, but like, it's like we're in such need to declare winners and losers. It makes no sense. And I feel the same about trade deadline. It's like, oh, this team for sure is going to, do exceptional because of this. And it's like, okay. And I know Mike McIntyre of the Winnipeg Free Press wrote a good article basically showing of the last 5 Stanley Cup winners, which teams, which of those teams made major moves. And the answer was none of them really. I mean, I'm not saying that they didn't. Obviously, the Panthers went out and got Tkachuk, but they didn't do it the year that they won the Stanley Cup.
And they don't do it at the trade deadline, is what you're saying. Moves that are most impactful, vis-a-vis winning the Stanley Cup are moves around the edges, more so than moves where you bring in a huge, massive Mikko Rantanen-esque piece. That piece is a huge addition. You don't pass up the opportunity to bring him in. But again, that's a move for next year, the year after, the year after, the year after. He's going to help them this year, no question about it. Yeah. But he's not necessarily going to be an immediate. It doesn't all of a sudden change the balance of a division or of what's happened so far in a regular season. It doesn't work that way. The Jets all of a sudden don't become any more impressive because they didn't go out and get the superstar. They're still, and again, I think this is what they're reminding everybody around the NHL. Is we're still the top team. We are now at, they're saying we, I don't say we, but that they've got 96 points on this season now, 46 wins so far this year. I mean, it's just, again, another reminder, I think, of them saying, hold on, before you anoint everyone else, we still deserve our just rewards.
And that's all I'm saying. I don't like the idea of, like, again, I declaring winners and losers and like, oh, who's going to win this? Like, every time I see it, if I'm looking for, as people know, I try and get you as much Jets content as I can on a little site called illegalcurve.com, Moose content as well. But I will tell you, like, when I see that stuff, I kind of tend to shy away from it because it's just irritating. Like, it's like, okay, there's no value. Like, the only other thing that pisses me off more is power rankings. This week's power rankings. Who gives a shit about the power rankings that aren't going to be, they don't matter tomorrow, let alone in a week or in a month. So power rankings and declaring winners and losers. Other than that, I love everything.
We're gonna have a new segment. What's eating Dave? Usually I'm a curmudgeon. As opposed to
what's Dave not eating?
Yes, exactly. Well, actually, it can be both things. Sometimes it'll flip-flop between the two. Here's Scott Arneal.
Talking with Kyle about that game, he says, for him, he just approaches them all the same way. But when you ask him about, how this team responded, how it came out, set the tone in a game that's been billed as a big game, he kind of talked about, how this group has grown and matured over the years. And I want to know what you see from them heading into that game, how they handled that game that makes you believe this team is learning and getting better.
Yeah, it was a big game, and, difference between us being up 6 points or now being up 10 points. They recognize that, we had to be at our best against a really good hockey team that doesn't give you a whole lot of ice, doesn't give you a whole lot of room to work. And I thought we had a fantastic first period. It was real solid and got out and got the lead and didn't stop from there.
You talk about not giving them, them not giving you a lot of ice or a lot of space, but it looked like you were the team that was taking more of that away and had left them frustrated. Kyle talked about feeling their frustration. As a coach, when you see the frustration in the other team, what are you thinking?
I'm not really watching them so much. I mean, it was just the way we went about our business. They're a real good offensive team, and their offensive numbers are real high. Analytically, they're one of the top teams in the league as well, and we shut down a lot of avenues. we did a lot of good things. We created our goals by defending first. We got in, like I've talked about often, we played a 200-foot game of defense to make sure that they didn't get room to work, and it turned into offense for us, and that's what we've done all year long, and that's we got up and got ahead of them, and now they got to chase the game.
That atmosphere there tonight, did it kind of, from your vantage point, feel like a crowd that knew what was at stake in this kind of game? Did it feel different than other ones?
I don't know if it felt different, but you can tell it was loud. It was a Friday night in Winnipeg and the barn here. It was real electric. Especially when we scored early, it really got the crowd going. And they've been good all year. They've been watching a real good hockey team play, good hockey throughout the season, and to have them behind us for that one, that's a big boost. So this is one of many big games that we've played so far this year. We still got a few more to go down the road before we get to the end of the season. So I like the way our group responded, and then again, I love the way the crowd responded.
Kyle spoke about how a big strength of this team is being able to take things game by game. We've talked about that all year, and Morgan kind of said how a big part of it is they've been here before. They've been in a playoff spot in the final stretch. From your perspective, over the last couple of years, how would you best define the growth you've seen from the group in preparation for a game like tonight, and just how their demeanor?
Yeah, I think that every opponent that you face has something maybe different that they throw at you, whether it's how they defend or how they attack you offensively. We threw a game plan together. We did some things yesterday in practice to kind of align with what we wanted to do today. The guys grasp it, and then they go out and do it, and they execute it. And that's, as me as a coach, you'd love to see that they understand. We're trying to find avenues and maybe areas that we can take advantage of. Let's say it's Dallas tonight or it's Seattle on Sunday. You're trying to find an avenue where you can, make them make a mistake, and our group has bought into what we, how we go about our business, and whether it's defending and frustrating a team, or it's our offensive push that creates those scoring chances. I think that all that kind of the guys buy into it, and they do it night in, night out.
Scott, I've come to think of your starting lineup decisions as very intentional a lot of the time. And tonight you go with your big guns, your top line, your top pair, and then they go and get after it. So I'm wondering how much of that was intentional, giving them a chance to do what they went out and did for you.
Yeah. There's a little bit of both involved in that. Obviously, being at home, you have your call on when it comes to matchups. Sometimes it's that. Sometimes sometimes you challenge your, let's say it's Scheif or Vladdy's line, you challenge them to go head-to-head against some of the offensive lines on their side. Can't say enough about what Lowry's line did against their other big line. So there's part of our sort of our how we want to attack and how we want to play against, let's say, Dallas tonight. There's also matchups that happen, and you have to win your matchup, and that to me is whether that's, like you said, Scheif going against Duchesne first shift and then them going after them. It's Lau going against Johnson and going after those guys. And it's kind of that's the guys recognize it. I don't always tell them what's happening. They recognize when they start to go over the boards against the same lines. And to me, you're going to bump heads shift after shift against the opposition. That's the advantage you got to learn to grow from. And I just think that starting those guys tonight, they gave us a real good first couple of shifts.
Thinking about one of the matchups, I think early on there were two D-zone shifts back to back for Luke Shen, where he's on the left wing boards and he's got Mikko Rantanen to deal with. One face-off, he boxes Rantanen out, reverses the puck. Next face-off, he fronts and gets the puck first, reverses. Winnipeg gets out of the zone. So I'm wondering how important he has become to your matchups. And can a defenseman like that raise your face-off percentage by winning those?
Yeah, certainly things have changed here with P not being in the lineup. But Luke's, like I said, he's a veteran guy that's played in that position before. I think, and like I mentioned when we traded for him, there's a lot of players, and this isn't that random. This is just, there's a lot of players that take the long way around to get to certain places when he's on the ice, and it is evident. I obviously coached against him for a number of years, but to watch him sort of shift in, shift out, you see it. He's a physical presence, and when he uses his smarts, when he uses his hockey savvy to recognize that he can use his body to get those pucks. that just leads to us exactly puck possession. Maybe it's a face-off that's a 50-50 that, he leans in and gets that puck, and, it's a breakout for us.
There was a penalty kill where 4 of your skaters did 2 full minutes, and then Lowry lays a hit at the end of it. What goes into that moment?
Yeah, and it's the second period, the longest spot possible from the bench. So, you're just the first. I thought the first minute and 30, we did a great job of. Maybe for a minute and 20, we did a good job with our sticks, getting in the lanes. We had some pressure situations. Then you get into the last 30 or 40 seconds. Now you're in kind of hang-on mode, and obviously we did a good job of collapsing and kind of, if they're going to do anything, it was coming from the outside, and you don't really want to get in those situations. But we never really had a real clear chance to get a hold of the puck, and Dallas obviously made some plays, but we did a good, like I mentioned, we did a good job of keeping it to the outside as much as possible.
You said when you acquired Luke Schenn that you wanted to get him playing with different players. Was the back half of the third period tonight when he was playing with Josh Morrissey, was that intentional to get him playing on the top pair?
I'll have to ask Dino about that one. I saw it a few times too. I think it was just the score kind of where it was at, and I think it was just kind of trying some different things, moving some bodies around that way.
And what does it say about a guy like Brandon Tanev that he can take a puck to the head and then play a big role in the 4-0 goal?
Yeah, I'm sure glad he didn't get hurt. Obviously, Fly was trying to dumped it into his face. But he's a character kid. He saw his energy. I was hoping that he'd score on that breakaway in that first, but he's got a lot of energy. He moves and he pressures quick, closes on people. Finishes, and that line was really good. I thought that line was really good. They had some D-zone face-offs. They got stuck out on a icing. Bear won a couple of big draws. Liked a lot of what I saw there. Those guys played heavy, and then they scored. They got rewarded. They scored another goal, which is big for those group. You missed one.
Dylan Sandberg's, he missed that game about 10 days ago or whenever it was. Now his partner is hurt. He's got a new partner to deal with, and he shows up with a night like tonight, the PK, the goal, all that sort of stuff. So I wanted to ask about him and his arrival on a night like tonight.
Yeah, well, it's payback. Peak had to do all that. P had to do all the work when he was out, so he's got to take on a load. But the maturity of him, I've talked about him a few times this year. Growing into his role the last couple of years, and then us handing him, recognizing it's time for him to move up in the roster, and him embracing it and really being good at it. And he's done a real good job. I know we've talked about him. We know how good he is defending, his footwork, his ability to go back for pucks, PK. But now you're seeing the other side where he's out on the ice with our top 6 forwards and he's making plays, and it's what he did on the goal. And he's a guy that I think that guys like playing with him because he has all those qualities. And biggest thing for a big man, he's got mobility, and that certainly helps him and his partner.
Thank you.
Yeah, thanks.
There he goes, Winnipeg Jets head coach, a very happy Winnipeg Jets head coach.
Joy in
Scott Arneal.
Joyland, Drew. Joy in Joyland.
Joy in Joyland is right, Dave M. If you're talking about the old Claude Noel reference right there,
Indeed.
And it's got to be gratifying from Scott Arneal's perspective. This is a team that's executing his vision to a T.
Mm-hmm.
I mean, it's an easy coaching job to some degree, not to take anything away from him, because he certainly deserves all the credit he can possibly get for the role that he's done with the Winnipeg Jets so far. But, this is just his vision being translated on the ice, and the Jets executed it almost to perfection tonight against a very high quality opponent. When you're winning puck battle after puck battle, and you're in the right position, and your sticks are in the right position, and you're on the right side of your opponent, that's what it looks like tonight. This is what it looks like tonight. And that's what the Winnipeg Jets, of course, need to bottle and execute come playoff time. And only time will tell if they're able to do that. But these games, like a game like tonight, with all due respect to the Seattle Kraken on Sunday, that's the Jets' next opponent.
Mm-hmm.
That's not tonight's game. Tonight's game has that feel. It has that energy. It has that buzz. You're so far better than the Seattle Kraken that you can win against them even if you're not executing as well as they did tonight. tonight against the Dallas Stars, a team that is considered to be in the upper echelon of this league, right alongside you in the names of the teams that are rattled off when you talk about the best of the best and the Stanley Cup contenders. The Winnipeg Jets just went and suffocated them tonight. Just an incredible performance up and down the lineup, and you saw a very pleased Scott Arniel sort of reveling in that moment, not taking a victory lap by any stretch, by any way, shape, or form, but just saying, yeah, we did what we needed to do. Our game looked like I wanted it to look. The players are driving this bus on to the next one, but this is a nice one to have in your back pocket nonetheless.
Look, I mean, we've been waiting to turn the page on the games between this one and the prior games. The New York Rangers game, there was, you were playing a desperate team that needed to win because they needed the points, but everyone wanted to kind of get past that one to talk about this Dallas one, to talk about this clash of titans as we've built it. And, it really wasn't. Again, the Jets, I'm not saying that Dallas didn't have moments. They're too good a team to be completely suffocated for 60 minutes, but there were definitely, and you saw the way they came out in the third period, which you kind of expected. I will say, though, that when they didn't score on the power play to at least make it a 3-1 game, what am I missing?
Just go on. I thought you were going somewhere else with your comment, but go on.
Oh, okay. Well, no, I'm just saying that. No, it's funny because I thought there was something in the chat I was missing, but anyways. So no, to me, when you have it, you can't get into the fourth and make it a 3-1 game. Into the third period and make it a 3-1 game. That's a sign that, you're in trouble. And so the Jets deserve a lot of credit. And we talked about the power play. And even though the Dallas Stars power play, as Ezzy pointed out, or I pointed out that they're the 15th ranked overall, but since whatever it was, January 2nd, they've got like the first or second best power play in the NHL. Mm-hmm. So this is a team that was
but sorry, piggybacking on that point there about the Jets PK and the Jets, you could see the frustration building for Dallas in that 2 minutes.
Yeah.
They control the puck for 2 full minutes, basically. They keep the Jets penalty killers, the same group on the ice for an entire
full 2 minutes,
120 seconds. And the Jets didn't blink. They didn't waver. That's a long time to be stuck on the ice. And it's not like this is some, dregs of an NHL power play. This is a hell of a power play unit. The positioning for the Jets did not blink. It did not change. The sticks were exactly where they were. Dallas had control of the puck, but there was no opportunity for them to do anything with it, which just shows you exactly how the Jets were where they needed to be to mitigate the success of their opponent.
And Drew, let's just remember the words that Connor Hellebuck spoke yesterday in his media availability, talking about the predictability of how this team controls the play, how they put the play so the shots come from where he expects those shots to come from so he can make those saves. Yeah. It doesn't always work. I suspect he didn't think that on the Mason Marchment. I'm not so sure he expected that pass to be so flawless. And we'll get into that when we get on the recap. Right. But I will say that, like I said, this is a team that is playing high level hockey. Mm-hmm. And you know what? Sometimes people in Winnipeg don't want to believe things because they're like, can we have nice things too? But this is a very good hockey team. And we've said this all along. Again, we've also said the proof is going to be in the pudding when it comes to the playoffs. You have to get there. And right now, this team is showing a consistency that we've never seen before. They're far ahead. I shouldn't say far, but they are ahead of the 17-18 team. They're ahead of last year's team. The additions, again, like I said, I understand it's very recent that the trade deadline, there's been 4 games since the trade deadline? New Jersey,
New Jersey, Carolina, New York,
and now this one. So 4 games. It's only been 4 games. And of course, Luke Schenn's played 2 and Brandon Tanev's played 4. But I just keep thinking to myself, like, how well and integrated these guys are. And, like the connectivity with Tanev and Scheifele and obviously those guys. And Luke Schenn just seems like, to be honest with you, feels like he's been on this team for a million years. Yeah. And I couldn't help but watch him throughout the course of his game more than Tanev. I think he's more impactful, of course, than Tanev because his role is more significant. But I just couldn't help but look at what he has done. Just some of the plays that you watch him make. And again, don't get me wrong, folks. I'm not suggesting that Luke Schenn is Cale Makar or any of these, top end defensemen, but he is adding that element that this Jets team was so sorely lacking in that level of physicality. And I saw the comment that I posted it earlier in the show, Drew. He is making these guys all a little bit taller, a little bit bigger. And
Little-
Dylan Sandberg joked today with us. And although I will say, and I think I made this observation on Twitter, but I will say, I said, when guys do media availabilities with us, they score goals. Vlad Domestikov spoke on Tuesday before the Rangers game, scored a goal. Dylan Sandberg spoke with us this morning, scored a goal. So memo to the Jets, do media. It's a good thing. You'll score a goal, but
they'll have 18 guys doing media. You guys will be there all day long.
we'll be fending them off. But I was just,
right.
the thing I was going to say is that he said, like, look, we're the Block brothers, not the Bash brothers. He doesn't feel like he's not Mark McGuire and Jose Canseco quite yet, but those boys, like, it's true. He's such a good role model because he plays a different game, right? And obviously Sandberg's game is different or Pionk's game is different than Schen's, but there's going to be so much of value that Dylan Sandberg is going to learn from Luke Schenn over the course of the next few weeks. And to be clear, Luke Schenn was paired with Josh Morrissey at times. It wasn't that Luke Schenn was exclusively with Dylan Sandberg, but there will be a lot of value gained regardless of whether Luke Schenn, however long he wears a Winnipeg Jets uniform. I think the value to Dylan Sandberg will be immeasurable. And the beneficiaries, of course, of that will be the Winnipeg Jets.
Well, sure. You spend enough time with a 15-year veteran or however many years Luke Schenn has been in this game for, who's seen it all, done it all. You're going to learn from him and add that to your repertoire as your career moves on. 7 hits tonight for Luke Schenn in his 19 minutes and 57 seconds of ice time. All of that played at even strength. So he, of course, because he didn't start the penalty kill,
right?
He didn't get any penalty kill time. There being only the 1 penalty for each team in tonight's game, which is again a bit of an anomaly that the vast majority of this game was played at 5-on-5. I thought the officials, they missed a call on Dylan DeMello where he got hooked, preventing a good scoring chance, but that was about the only missed call I thought in the course of tonight's game. I like how the officials sort of stepped back and let this game be decided on the ice by the players. I thought they had a good feel for how tonight's game was, and they didn't do anything to impact that. 4-1, the Winnipeg Jets victorious tonight.
Did we just do the whole recap?
We didn't do the recap. We haven't even touched on the goals yet, but we're going to start to do the recap because that's what we do here on the Illegal Curve post-game show. It's presented by Play Now. The recap, as you like to call it, is the goal-by-goal recap, and it is called, in fact, the Play Now game recap.
The Play Now game recap.
Big thanks to our friends at Play Now for their continued support. They're the title sponsor of all of our programming. Don't bet on illegal sites. Bet with Play Now instead. Manitoba's local, legal, and secure gambling site. 18 plus. Enjoy responsibly. I saw the finger go like that, which means Dave Adam has something to say.
Well, because I think, look, there's over 500 people right now in the chat. Hopefully we'll get even more. So we appreciate everyone joining us. You should join us regardless of the Jets winning or losing. That's just an observation by me.
Yes.
Oh, the other observation I will make, because at 2:00, our contest went live with our friends at Play Now. Drew's going to tell you all about it, but go to our Facebook page, go to our Instagram page. Make sure you like those. Make sure you're subscribing, because what can they win, Drew, if they do that before Tuesday?
Before Tuesday. So go to our Instagram, go to our Facebook. 4 tickets are up for grabs for the Jets and Edmonton Oilers game. That is coming up in April. That is coming up on a Sunday afternoon, April the 13th. If I'm not mistaken, I believe I have that date right. Yep. So on Sunday, April the 13th, Illegal Curve, in conjunction with our friends at Play Now, are giving away 4 primo seats. Not just okay seats, not just good seats, but primo seats, 4 of them, to the Jets and the Oilers, Sunday, April 13th. It's a 6 p.m. puck drop. So get over to our Facebook page at Illegal Curve. Get over to our Instagram page at Illegal Curve. Be sure to be following us on Facebook, following us on Instagram, following us on YouTube as well. Follow us in all those places. Follow Play Now as well on Facebook. We're going to enter everyone into a draw who does those things, who answer the trivia question correctly. It's a pretty easy question. You'll be able to do it. And then on Tuesday, we're going to pick a winner, and we're going to send them to the Jets and the Oilers coming up on April the 13th. So big thanks, of course, to our friends at Play Now for facilitating this contest. And we're excited to send somebody else. Earlier this year, we sent somebody to the home opener between the Jets and the Blackhawks, and we sent someone to the Jets and the Canadians game.
Yeah.
And so now we're sending somebody to the Jets and the Oilers game, and we want that to be you. But you can only enter, and you can only get entered into the contest by heading to our Instagram page, our Facebook page, and of course, this here YouTube channel, and subscribing to everything to do with Illegal Curve.
Nicely done, Drew. I did the old bump. I gave you the old bump, and
Thank
then you spiked that thing down. So let's get this thing rolling.
There we go. The Play Now game recap this evening on the Illegal Curve post-game show. The Jets, you knew that opening the scoring was going to be a big one. They do open the scoring at the 8-minute mark of the first period. It's not one of the most expected goal scorers for the Winnipeg Jets. The guys who got the assist, they're expected. Scheifele and Connor with the assist. Dylan Sandberg gets the goal. And you know the Jets love to find the trailer. Not just the Jets, all sorts of teams do love to find the trailer. It starts deep in the Jets zone. It's a breakout. Dylan DeMello up to Kyle Connor. It's a 2-on-2. But the speed and the talent of Connor and Scheifele push the defense back. Sandberg is the trailer. Scheifele does a bit of a button hook, finds Dylan Sandberg coming downhill, and he wires it. He beats Jake Ottinger short side to give the Jets the early 1-0 lead 8 minutes into the contest, Dave.
Yeah, and one of the things that we talked about with Dylan Sandberg was whether he'd be able to replace the offense that Brendan Dillon found last year, because he seemed to find his offensive touch before he took his talents over to New Jersey. And, Dylan Sandberg now up to 5 goals. So that's significant for him. And probably just as significant is that when the Jets score first this season, they were coming into tonight's game 28, 3, and 3. Of course, that's now 29, 3, and 3. So we know they've improved on that. But you knew that, and Scott O'Neill was asked about that idea of what happens with this team. They don't, not that they lock it down, but when they get that first goal, and I mean, that's not a riveting idea that teams play, with more juice when they're ahead. Right. But it just seemed like the team was ready to go, and kudos to the crowd. The crowd was awesome. Like, this was a great crowd singing, and it was a sold out crowd. I think that's the 9th sellout of the season. So that's good for them. And it just seemed like they were amped up and ready to go. And look,
I mean, we talked about it all day. We talked about it at 12 noon when we were at City Place. You could feel the buzz in the air. Yeah. You could feel the buzz in the food court at City Place, that this was not just your run of the mill, Jets home game. Even on a Friday night, there's always a little bit more excitement because people might be able to have an extra drink or two, or the
beverage, if you will,
on us, whatever it might be. Even beyond that, you knew that this game mattered more than just any of the 41 home games that you've had this year you're going to have during this regular season. So the fact that the Jets brought it and that the crowd brought it, well, one feeds the other, feeds the other, feeds the other. This is how the copacetic and symbiotic relationship is supposed to work between the team on the ice and the team in the stands. And both sides did what they needed to do tonight.
And just, sorry, Drew, to go back to the idea of the analysis of this goal. I mean, where does it start? It starts in the defensive zone. And that's what we've talked about with this Jets team and their commitment to defense. I mean, they were being outshot, I think, 4-1 initially by the Stars. Stars had a good little flurry. But again, Kyle Connor, Connor and Scheifele, and we'll talk about how automatic they are. But it's just, it is interesting because, Dylan Sandberg really looked like it should have been one that Ottinger, I'm not going to say he should have stopped it, because
I think he should have.
Yeah, I was going to say, like, he was aware of Velarde, tried to kind of nudge him and then get his space. And I think he distracted himself is actually what I think happened, and really allowed, because Velarde was taken by the defenseman. So yes. Velarde really wasn't in a position of being problematic for Ottinger, and yet he allowed him to kind of himself to be distracted. At least that's my view of it. But I love the fact that this starts in the defensive zone. The Jets make a nice defensive play. They attack aggressively. They don't allow the Stars to get possession and themselves to set up. Dylan DeMello, right, takes it into the neutral zone, finds Kyle Connor, and Connor goes and does Kyle Connor things. He's up to 49 assists, matches his career high for assists, of course, and he's got a lot more games to get that point, to get above the 50 mark and maybe the 60 mark. So he's been next world with his assists, and it's one of the things Kelly Moore asked him about. And he said, look, these are just the opportunities. Not that I'm not getting shots, but I'm also just getting these sorts of chances. And Scheifele, I mean, Scheifele's passing is very, I don't want to say exquisite, but it's pretty exquisite the way he can find players. And so, and of course he did it 3 times tonight, got to the 40 assist mark. So we'll talk about that a little bit later, but it's just a nice passing. Yeah. Sandberg coming down Main Street, and he fires it home and gives the Jets a big 1-0 lead and really gets the crowd going.
Yeah, exactly right. And I think you're right. It did seem like Ottinger was focused too much on Gabe Vilardi. And as a result, it didn't seem like he was fully prepared. Like,
wasn't set.
any player coming downhill with a head of speed and being able to walk into something is in an advantageous position, even if it's somebody who's not a traditional goal scorer like Dylan Sandberg. But I still don't like Ottinger's mindset there, because it's not like Vilardi was taking away his eyes. He was like, he goes to sort of almost like cross check or nudge Vilardi, even though there's a defender right there. And as a result, I just thought he was a little bit late in getting into his stance and getting set to tackle the shooter that is Dylan Sandberg in this instance. So 1-0 for the Winnipeg Jets at the 8-minute mark. They come very close to make it 2-0 not that long after. Mark Scheifele hits the post after some beautiful moves in tight. And he's, really a goal that Mark Scheifele should have scored. It's rare that he misses in that opportunity, but Kyle Connor doesn't miss with his opportunity 9 minutes and 1 second later, his 34th of the year. Assist to Mark Scheifele, assist to Gabe Vilardi. And again, the Jets are winning the battles here. Gabe Vilardi is winning a puck battle along the boards against the Dallas Stars player. The Dallas Stars player in this instance was Thomas Harley. So all the hype about Harley, Gabe Vilardi is able to body him out. He's able to move the puck. He's able to move it onto the stick of Mark Scheifele. Then Scheifele finds Kyle Connor, who's right at the faceoff dot, and the quick release again beats Ottinger's short side. It's a real nice shot. It's a real nice goal. But if you're Ottinger, you can't get beat short side by anybody in that instance, even an exquisite goal scorer like Kyle Connor. Again, he didn't seem set and ready for the shot on and off Connor's stick. We know how quick Connor's releases, but it seemed like Ottinger was surprised by it. And that to me is just not something that can happen in that instance, of the game, with 3 minutes to go in the first period.
There's no question, Drew, that but you have to credit the first line. I mean, Gabe Vilardi, I know, I'm not saying you don't, but I'm just saying that it's just when you watch that replay and you see the way the board battle that they're winning, and how do they win it? Vilardi has his man tied up. Connor sees that there's going to be pressure, gets in there quick, because again, Kyle Connor is not he's never going to win the Selke, but his defense has improved. There's no question about that. But when you watch how good his stick is, right? And that's why, of course, he's playing more on the PK now, because he can anticipate and he's got a great stick. But if you watch what he does, the way he sweeps the puck quickly, gets to the boards quick, gets there, knocks it to Scheifele, and then he knows, wait a second, my guy's over there. I got time and space. Gets to the open space. And again, it's like Scheifele and Connor are on like this brainwave that they have no issue knowing where the other guy is going to be. And again, that's the benefit of having played with each other for so long on the same line, that it's an easy pass. And I say that somewhat jokingly, because it's a beautiful pass, but it's an easy pass for Mark Scheifele to make. Gets it over to
That's a funny one by T. Will.
T. Will.
The comment from T. Will, for those who are listening on the podcast, is Jake Ottinger was surprised by Kyle Connor's shot because he never got to see Connor's shot at the Four Nations tournament, because the U.S. head coach Mike Sullivan is awful. So that's a funny one from T. Will. They're chatting it up. So many of you, almost 500 of you, more than 500 of you, are joining us tonight live here on the Illegal Curve post-game show. If you haven't already done so, you know what I'm going to tell you to do. So just go ahead and do it. It's smash the like button. It's subscribe to the channel. It's turn on your notifications so that when we go live on Sunday night for the Winnipeg Jets and the Seattle Kraken, you'll be alerted and you'll turn on your phone as well. And when we go live tomorrow morning with the Illegal Curve Hockey Show, even though I know you're already going to be there, in case you're not, in case you get distracted, in case you put your phone down for a second to go pour a second cup of coffee or something, you'll be able to grab that phone, see that the Illegal Curve show has started, and you'll immediately join us tomorrow morning. Mitchell Clinton, Daniel Fink are our guests tomorrow morning on the Illegal Curve Hockey Show. Dave and Ezzy going to drive the bus tomorrow morning on the program.
And so that was Kyle Connor's 34th goal of the season, third time in his career that he got 34. I said, it's funny because it was almost like he was trying to show me up, but I was like, well, he'll get above a 40 this year, but he will not quite hit his career high of 47. Of course, he got another one right after, so maybe he was trying to show us that he could get up to 45, 46 goals this season. We shall see, Drew. But again, Kyle Connor showing that even despite what Kelly Moore said, it's not just assists for that guy. He likes his apples, but he also likes his goals.
He certainly does. 2-0 for the Winnipeg Jets after 20 minutes. Just, a really solid, strong period by the Winnipeg Jets, having almost, they had, 3/5 of the possession, almost 60%. They had the high danger chances. They had expected goals for of just under 70%. So exactly how you want to come out to start that first period for the Winnipeg Jets.
Yeah, no, I mean, sorry, I was thinking about something for later, but it's true, Drew. I mean, it's just it was a tone setter, and the crowd was into it. You don't give them a goal. Connor Hellebuck was solid, and your team did what it needed to do, which was to take a 2-0 lead into the first intermission.
Yeah, exactly right. So 2-0 at that point in time. The Jets make it 3-0. And this sort of felt like the breaker of the game, even though there was still more than 30 minutes to play. It's Kyle Connor, his 35th. It comes at the 6:43 mark of the second period. Just exquisite passing between Scheifele and Morrissey and Connor, the big guns for the Winnipeg Jets, stepping up when it matters most. This one, Connor's 35th, his second of the game, and it's also our Seagram's shot of the game.
The Seagram's shot of the game.
And again, you look at this goal. Where does it start? It starts in the Winnipeg Jets' own zone. It starts with Mark Scheifele winning a puck battle in the Jets' own zone. It starts with Brandon Tanev. He's out there as well. It's Tanev driving hard to the net. It's Connor with the pass over to Morrissey. Morrissey back to Connor. A beautiful give and go. Just watching, Morrissey feather that pass between sticks and skates, and Connor making no mistake from where he was, right in the high danger zone. And you love Brandon Tanev, to no one's surprise. Where's he going? He's going hard at Jake Ottinger right there, taking a defender as well. 3-0 for the Winnipeg Jets.
That was Velarde, Drew.
Pardon me, Velarde, not Tanev. Velarde. I was wondering, I saw 13 and I got distracted. I thought I got confused by Brandon Tanev's old number there for a second. I got ahead of myself. Sorry, Velarde was. I was like, why is Brandon Tanev on the ice with these?
And I was thinking, I'm like, shouldn't the hair be, or lack thereof in this instance, be an indication? But
I'm not watching the video. I'm watching the dots. I love watching the on the goal visualizer on NHL.com. So my apologies, folks. I got a little too excited there. It happens to the best of us. It's Velarde there who's doing the work, and he's going where he's been going all year long. And the Jets top guys coming up big. I love the pass from Morrissey. I mean, I can't say enough about how good this pass is.
Yeah.
Just getting it through Matt Dumba and right onto the stick of Kyle Connor to make it 3-0 for the Winnipeg Jets. And the way the Jets have been playing through the first, 25 minutes of this game, where Dallas doesn't have any time or space, you feel, and also not to mention you got some guy named Hellebuck in net for you. It feels like this is too big of a hill for the Stars to overcome.
Yeah, and there's so many good things to like. First of all, the little soft touch pass by Mark Scheifele, who gets it to Kyle Connor. You also like that Gabe Velarde or Brandon Tanev, whoever you think he is, takes his man out, and really just the rest of the Stars are kind of watching. They're puck watching. You're absolutely right. It's a phenomenal pass by Josh Morrissey, and as a result, the Jets have themselves a 3-0 lead. But really connected hockey, I guess is the way I'd say it, because this team is just playing that way. And there's a lot of confidence, and I could come up with a few other buzzwords if you'd like, Drew, but there's no question about it. It was a really good goal by the Winnipeg Jets. Ottinger didn't really have a chance. I don't think his team's going to be happy with the way they played, but fast fast hockey. I mean, that was the theme throughout the course of this hockey game, was how fast these two teams play each other. And I was like, if you don't have the foot speed to keep up, and Luke Shen, don't get me wrong, is not a fast player by any stretch. He's just a smart player, knows where to be, and he's got that veteran presence. But I don't know. I was kind of, one of my other takeaways, Drew, was just how fast this hockey game was, both from a literal sense, because there weren't a lot of whistles, but also from just how the players were skating in this game.
Well, to your point, 7:09 was the time the game started. Puck drop. The game ended at 9:32. So what's that? That's 2 hours and 23 minutes to play tonight's game. So it was a fast game, and I thought the speed of the Jets and how they were on Dallas. We talked about it. When I said white on rice or brown on rice or pilaf on rice, whatever your rice choice is.
Sure.
That you saw the Jets' speed, which is a huge attribute for them, really demonstrate itself and frustrate and fluster Dallas throughout the course of this game, because they never had any time. They never had that space necessary to make to make any moves, to make any plays in transition. The Jets were just on point for the entirety of tonight's contest, and you saw it again here on this goal that made it 3-0. The other sort of big key in the second period was that penalty kill, which we touched on already in the Play Now game recap. Colin Miller gets called for interference, deservingly so. He takes down, I believe it was Sam Steele, if I'm not mistaken.
It was, yeah.
Actually, that fourth line for the Stars, I thought, had a pretty decent game, and they were noticeable at times. And he takes him down right in front of Connor Hellebuyck, a bit of a goalmouth scramble situation. He goes to the box. He sits for the 2 minutes. Dallas's power play goes to work, but the Jets just frustrated them. They were in the shooting lanes. Their sticks were in the passing lanes. They kept everything on the perimeter for the entirety of the 120 seconds. And that's just, incredible diligence and commitment by the Jets, the defenders, the 4 defenders who are on the ice for the Winnipeg Jets in this one and only shorthanded opportunity in tonight's game. Alex Iafallo, Dylan DeMello, I'm going to name them by name because they deserve it. Adam Lowry, and of course, Dylan Sandberg. Those 4 penalty killers did an exquisite job in this instance in keeping everything to the outside, frustrating and flustering the Dallas Stars, and really preventing the Stars from having any glimmer of a hope of a comeback with a late second period goal.
Yeah, no, I mean, and the funny thing is, Drew, sorry, I was writing about what's that?
See it in the chat. It's all good.
Yeah, no, and so, you mentioned the fourth goal by Morgan Barron, and it was funny because, as you said, we didn't know if it was DeMello. We didn't know if it was Tanev. We didn't know if it was Barron. Mm-hmm. But one of the players that we talked about needing more from was Morgan Barron. And we've talked about that for a little bit. And we've seen it since he's become, since he's moved to center, working on, like I posted it on our social media, and I posted it on illegalcareer.com and the practice report, just watching him work on faceoffs with Davis Payne after kind of the main practice had ended. And he was trying to, work on his craft and get better. And we talk about that, getting 5% better, getting 10% better. So that's one of those areas where, that's something he's working on to improve. And this fourth line there's a lot to like about it. And,
Sure.
Kenny Weave of the Winnipeg Free Press reporting that Alex Iafallo wants to stay in Winnipeg, doesn't want to test free agency. Maybe that's something we'll touch on in tomorrow's show, I should say, sorry. But, I suspect that means if he stays and Mason Appleton goes, but that's, of course, again, more of a Saturday conversation than a post-game show conversation.
Right.
But I just say, I guess the point I'm making is that the versatility of that fourth line, with Tanev on it, with Iafallo, with Morgan Barron, and that's no slight on David Gustafson or Rasmus Kupari, but it just, one of those things you want to see was that Morgan Barron was producing. And Dylan DeMello was kind of, pretty good in this game, I thought. And he sets up, even though he doesn't get an assist on the first goal, he sets up the play in the neutral zone. He was on for the third goal, and he was on for the fourth goal, I believe. So he was on for three of the 4, if my recollection is correct. And it's just, again, it's just more hard work from the Jets. And remember, this is at a point in the game where the Jets are, although I should mention, sorry, I almost forgot this stat, Drew. So after the Jets are up 3-0 after 40 minutes, and the Jets record after 40 minutes with the lead is 35-0-1 before tonight's game. So now it's 36-0-1 for the Winnipeg Jets when leading after 40 minutes. So yes, more ridiculousness from this Jets team. It just seems like every time we talk about this team, there's some new remarkable stat. But yeah, I mean, it's just a nice, hardworking fourth line goal, and they get rewarded. And you want to see everybody kind of feel like they've got a piece of this win, and they kind of did.
No question about it. I mean, that's an incredible stat right there. You mentioned, everybody getting a piece of this win, and we've been talking the last couple of games about Morgan Barron and his, sort of return to prominence as the Jets' fourth line center. He gets rewarded with his 6th goal of the year. Another strong game from him, I thought. Brandon Tanev and Dylan DeMello get the assists on this one. And again, another one that starts with a clean zone exit from the Jets' blue line, a clean zone entry. Barron over to Iafallo back to Dylan DeMello. DeMello with the shot, walking in a couple steps from the blue line, and then the double tip. It gets deflected off of the stick of Brandon Tanev. It gets deflected off of the stick of Morgan Barron. He cashes it, in the goal column. And again, I just thought the Jets' speed kept the Dallas Stars on their heels entirely. In this goal, the defenders who are backing off of the blue line are Brendan Smith and Ilya Labushkin. Those are the guys that Barron is coming downhill on, and those guys give him a clean zone entry and allows the Jets to, again, move the puck low to high. DeMello unaccosted as he comes in as the trailer. And then what happens is there's chaos and traffic in front of Jake Ottinger. This is the goal that actually, well, I guess the second Connor goal doesn't bother me because nobody would have a chance at this one. This goal doesn't bother me as much as the first 2 goals do from the Dallas perspective, because there's so much traffic, and a double tip is a real difficult thing for a goaltender to try and track down and be able to prevent.
For sure.
But you just love that the Jets gain the zone, they get the control, they get the opportunity, and then what happens is everybody gets hard in front of the net to take away the goalie's eyes, to be in position for the tips. The Jets succeed in doing that. It's a 4-0 game. The barn is rocking. The victory is in the bag. And then
the wave is around the building.
Yeah, in which, more than appropriate time for the wave to be unfurled by the celebratory Winnipeg Jets fans. The only question left in tonight's game would be, is it another shutout for Connor Hellebuck? Unfortunately, it's not. He still will reduce his goals against average from 1.99 further down after tonight's contest. Mason Marchment gets his 16th assist to Evgeny Dadonov and Cody Ceci. That comes with just under 4 minutes to go in the third period. But all said and done, it's a celebration. It's a party. It's a party atmosphere. And they're singing "Hey Baby" all throughout Winnipeg tonight with a 4-1 Winnipeg Jets win over the Dallas Stars, Dave.
Yeah, I mean, it's a good breakdown that we've just concluded, and it's another good win for this Winnipeg Jets team. The 46th win of the season. That's simply just remarkable. I mean, again, Connor Hellebuck inching ever closer to becoming we already know he's already the franchise leader in wins with 44. He's going to well eclipse that number. And again, he's going to have a shot at surpassing Marty Brodeur and Braden Holtby for the all-time wins record, which is 48 in the NHL. So just another incredible hockey game from a Jets team that continues to have incredible hockey games. Yeah. And this one is different than, Drew, everybody in the chat knows we've been doing the show long enough, and you get to game 67 on the calendar and you're getting closer and closer to the end of the season. And you start to get into it usually happens around the 50 game range, maybe the 55 game range. You're kind of like, ooh, it feels like it's been like the season's been a while, but there's still quite a few games to go. And now you're getting even closer, but these kind of games get you excited, get you up. And look, we spent an hour talking about it at City Place this afternoon. Big shout out to everyone who came out, especially Ken. We had a couple of Ken gets an extra mention because he drove from ND to not necessarily just to come see our show, But big shout out to the couple of gentlemen who joined us. Again, Ken was okay with us mentioning. I don't know. I don't want to mention both names just in case we weren't, some people might have been playing hooky, Drew, to come watch Illegal Curve live. So big shout out to everyone who did. But no, I mean, it just continues to be remarkable how this team just keeps rolling along. But the point I was making is that we expected it to be a barn burner. It was a barn burner because the fans were having a great time, but it wasn't because of what I shouldn't say the effort from the Stars, but just the Jets smothered them. The Jets just played a game that controlled the puck for a significant portion of that hockey game.
That's just it. It's not that Dallas, I don't think Dallas played that poorly. I thought the Jets just played that great.
And again,
it was more that than Dallas.
We'll see the rematch. We'll see the rematch in 3 weeks or whatever it's going to be when they play. I think it's in Dallas, correct?
Thursday, April 10th.
Yeah,
we are going to be at Boston Pizza on Taylor Avenue for that game. So the rematch between the Jets and the Dallas Stars is coming up on Thursday, April the 10th. We will be there for a live on location edition of the Illegal Curve post-game show. Come watch the game with us before that. So it's a watch party. It's a post-game show. It gets you set for the Jets and the Stars. That's coming up Thursday, April the 10th. And of course, tons of live on location shows upcoming between that one on the Thursday. And then once the playoffs roll around, that your place to be before every Winnipeg Jets home playoff game is going to be City Place, just like we were last year for the playoff games. We're going to be doing pregame shows at City Place in our spot at the food court. Look for the giant Illegal Curve poster. We will be there before.
Second floor.
Yeah, second floor, food court, City Place. We will be there before each and every home playoff game as well. And it certainly seems like it's shaping up like there's going to be a litany of home playoff games. At least there should be so far this season based on the Jets' recent performance. 4-1 victors tonight in a very important game over the Dallas Stars. Much more to come still, even though we're over an hour already. We'll take a commercial break. When we come back, we'll talk about tomorrow's Illegal Curve hockey show, a little bit more on the Jets and the Stars. Smash the like button. Subscribe to the channel, subscribe to all the social media platforms.
Enter the contest.
This is a perfect time to go enter the contest. While we go to break, Drew Mindell, Dave Manook, the Play Now Illegal Curve post-game show rolls on this Friday night.
We want to thank you for not betting with Play Now and choosing our illegal gambling site instead.
Because we couldn't afford things like this without your money.
So much of your money.
Now you might have questions like,
Do our profits benefit your community?
No.
Or bet with Play Now, Manitoba's local legal and secure gambling site.
Dining, entertainment, parking, and convenience, all in one spot. City Place is located in the heart of downtown Winnipeg, attached to the Canada Life Center. Whether you're working, living, or out for a night in the downtown, make City Place your go-to destination before or after the fun finds you. Lunchtime, game time, anytime, visit City Place at 333 St. Mary Avenue, next to Canada Life Center. Holt Dental, the new official dentist of Illegal Curve, has a philosophy rooted in two unyielding principles: genuinely caring about patients and providing outstanding service. Being a patient of Holt Dental means more than just checkups and treatments. It's taking the time to listen and talk to each patient so they can achieve the best long-term health, functionality, and aesthetics for their teeth, mouth, and gums. Conveniently located at Grant Park Festival on Taylor Avenue, Holt Dental is dentistry of the highest quality in a comfortable and relaxed environment. For more information, visit holtdental.ca. Oh, and there's plenty of free parking at the front door, too. Celebrating its 40th year as Winnipeg's home for stand-up comedy, Rumors Restaurant and Comedy Club has recently been named Canada's top comedy club and a top 5 comedy club in North America. From birthday parties to date nights to fundraisers and everything in between, Rumors is your destination for the best and most affordable live entertainment Winnipeg has to offer. For more information on upcoming shows, Rumors' incredible promotions, and to purchase tickets, visit rumorscomedyclub.com.
At Boston Pizza, a fast lunch doesn't have to mean fast food. Now you can get a $15 lunch served in just 20 minutes, including your choice of a main, side, and drink. That's right, lunch for $15 at your local Boston Pizza.
10:45 Friday night. Welcome back to the Illegal Curve post-game show. Drew Mandel, Dave Manouk with you. Just a couple programming notes while we got here, while you're a captive audience. Tomorrow morning, 9 a.m., the Illegal Curve Hockey Show. Dave Manouk, Ezra Ginsburg. I'm taking tomorrow off. I got a family event I have to go take care of, so I'm thrilled to be. It's one of those good family events. So as much as I'm going to miss all of you and miss my Saturday morning with Dave and Ezzy, sometimes the family duties do call. But I will be back Sunday night for the Jets and the Seattle Kraken, the post-game show. After that contest, we'll be back. I think it's going to be right around 10:45 or so. It's, I believe, an 8 o'clock puck drop, which is 6 o'clock in Seattle. So a bit of a late night for us. A bit of a late night on Tuesday night with the Jets and the Canucks. Bit of a late night on Thursday night as well. But that's okay. That's okay. We're going to get our rest, and we're going to be there, and we're going to be nice and relaxed and rested and ready to go for all the upcoming shows here on Illegal Curve. Excited to do all those programs for you good folks. Quick look out at the out-of-town scoreboard, because we are now after the trade deadline, which means, based on the formal Illegal Curve Constitution, a copy of which is available at your local bookseller, we can now look at the out-of-town scoreboard on the post-game shows. The Colorado Avalanche in a game against the Calgary Flames, the Avs victorious 4-2 over the Calgary Flames. I'm sure the Avalanche were happy about that result, as it moves them just a little bit closer to the Dallas Stars, only 3 points back of the Stars for home ice advantage for that second spot in the Central Division. Dallas, of course, still with the 2 games in hand, both on the Avs and the Winnipeg Jets. Those two teams will do battle. I believe it's tomorrow, or is it Sunday?
Sunday
in Colorado. That'll be an interesting contest, and the Jets certainly hope that both those teams beat up on each other a little bit. Anyways, a missed opportunity for the Calgary Flames to put a little bit of distance ahead of them and the Canucks in that battle for the final wild card spot.
I know it's not Avs lunch, Drew, but I will say that it's kind of surprising that they've caught up that quickly. I kind of felt like they had dropped off. Yeah. And for them to, I mean, again, they're not catching the Jets, but for them to only be 3 points back at Dallas, when it's funny because we're like, oh, well, it's just a win. Then, it just goes to show you how ridiculous actually the Central is, and that they've left now Minnesota behind.
That's true. The Oilers get a big win on the road in New York, an Oilers team that's really been struggling as of late. They get a big victory to move back to leapfrog the LA Kings into second spot in that Central.
I'm very excited for that Edmonton LA first round series for the 4th year in a row.
Yes, exactly. Familiarity breeds contempt, at least among us analysts who have to continue to watch it. But we'll see about that contest. The only other games of relevance that I would say for Jets fans, I guess Utah and Seattle, they're tied up at 2 goals apiece in the second intermission. That would be an important victory for the Utah Hockey Club. If they were to pull off the win, they would move into a tie with Calgary and Vancouver for the final wild card spot. Calgary, Vancouver would have a game in hand. It's a real turtle derby between the Flames, the Canucks, and the Utah Hockey Club as they make their way to the last final stretches of the regular season.
Of those 3 teams that the Jets would least want to face, I think it's Utah.
I agree with you.
I think Utah is the most dangerous of the 3. I still think the Jets beat them, but I think that Utah gives them the hardest out of those 3 teams.
I would concur with you there. And Utah, Calgary, Vancouver, maybe that Quinn Hughes is now back in the lineup. That'll give him a little bit of a boost. But certainly Utah, to me, would be the scariest of the bunch as well. So time will tell on that front, but that's really your look at the out-of-town scoreboard on this Friday night edition of the Illegal Curve post-game show.
And I know we're going to go because we've gone well over time on our time frame here, but I will say, and I know we're going to have Daniel Fink on to talk about the Moose, so I'm not going to give you folks a full Moose minute, but I will tell you that even though the Moose haven't been winning and they're down in the dumps a little bit, Fabian Wagner, folks, the 2022 sixth rounder, has 5 goals in his last 4 games for the Manitoba Moose. So a lot of excitement with that young man. He is on fire, scored a beautiful goal, bar down yesterday in Chicago. Again, the Moose weren't able to come up with the win, but a lot of excitement with what he's been able to do. I think he had 1 goal at the pro level in the Swedish Hockey League, and comes to Manitoba. Didn't score in his first 31, has 5 in his last 4. So a good story there with the 2022 6th rounder of the Manitoba Moose. And so we'll see if he can keep things rolling. The Moose are in action, of course, tomorrow evening, in Iowa. We'll have Daniel Fink on the show tomorrow morning to kind of set things up.
So there you have it. Lots to come tomorrow morning. The Jets, no media availability tomorrow. It's a travel day as they head to Seattle. So the only place for Winnipeg Jets discussions tomorrow is the Illegal Curve Hockey Show, 9 a.m. right here on our YouTube channel, right here on our Facebook page. Be sure to join us then if you haven't already done so. Smash the like button, subscribe to the channel, subscribe to the podcast, and of course, tell your friends, tell your family the best place to be after each and every Winnipeg Jets game. And again, on Saturday mornings is the Illegal Curve YouTube channel. Big thank you to all of our sponsors. They make the Saturday show. They make the post-game show. They make the website a possibility. Our friends at Rumors Restaurant and Comedy Club. Tone Bell is at Rumors. Tickets available only for the 9:45 show tomorrow. 7:15 is already sold out. Play Now, they're the title sponsor of our programming. Holt Dental, Boston Pizza. We were at City Place earlier today for a great time. And of course, our friends at Seagram's. They sponsor the shot of the game. Support these fine businesses because of their continued support of Illegal Curve Hockey. Thanks to all of you for joining us tonight. Jets victorious 4-1 over the Dallas Stars. IllegalCurve.com has all your post-game coverage in its entirety. For Dave Minuk, I'm your host, Drew Mandel. Until Saturday morning at 9 a.m., we wish you good night and good luck, and thanks for watching the Illegal Curve post-game show.
Thanks for listening to this broadcast from Illegal Curve Hockey. For more great Illegal Curve content, subscribe to the Illegal Curve YouTube channel, follow at Illegal Curve on Twitter, Facebook, and Instagram, and visit your online home for hockey in Winnipeg, IllegalCurve.com.